Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Claire and you are watching another episode of Spiritual Sundays, a series where I talk all about the deeper issues in life, from subjects related to mental health, human psychology, spirituality and so much more. Now this isn't the video I had planned for today, but since it's National Eating Disorder Awareness Week, I thought I would talk a little more about my experience and hopefully offer some support and guidance for anyone out there who is struggling. I developed anorexia when I was around 17 and it took me nearly 10 years to come out of it. I have talked about my experience in another video which I will link below if you want to go and check it out. I'm not going to go too much into it now, but I didn't really make a proper recovery until I opened my cake shop, funnily enough. I guess I've just worked really hard on my mind and my mental health and well-being, that I'm just in a much better place. Yes, I still get days where the critical voice kicks in and makes me feel ashamed or guilty, fat, ugly, but I've really learned to tune out of it and just practice self-care and self-love on a daily basis. The biggest breakthrough I had during recovery was removing the label, and again I've talked about this in a separate video which I'll link below because it can be quite a helpful thing to do in recovering from any kind of mental illness. Yes, I was suffering with an eating disorder, but it didn't mean that that was who I am. I'm something much more than that. This is partly why I don't talk about it so much now, because it's kind of a thing of the past. It's not that I'm ashamed about it or scared of sharing my experience, quite the opposite really. But I've learned to move on with my life, accept the highs and lows of recovery and accept myself for who I am. If you know somebody who is struggling with an eating disorder or any kind of mental illness, maybe you're even caring for them, have patience and give them your unconditional love and support. Recovery is not easy and it does take time. There is only so much we can do for another individual, and in truth, we can't really help them until they're ready and willing to be helped. It took me a long time to get to this point, and although the years of doctor's appointments and counselling sessions helped me somewhat and provided a little bit of support, it wasn't until I actually made the decision to help myself that I started to make progress and break free of this destructive illness. There are many people who suffer with an eating disorder of some kind, and one doesn't necessarily have to be really underweight or even overweight to be struggling. In fact, some people maintain a pretty healthy weight but feel trapped and torn apart inside, which can make it quite difficult to get help. Also, we mustn't assume that that person is starving themselves or purging or binging or any of these typical traits associated with eating disorders. Even at my lowest weight, I was still eating 3 fairly balanced meals a day. What we see on the outside is not necessarily an indication of what is going on in the inside. Something that I found really hard when I was ill is that because people knew that I had issues with food and felt quite uncomfortable going to events and occasions that involved it, eventually they kind of stopped inviting me and people gradually disappeared from my life. I felt very isolated, like a total outcast, as if there was something completely wrong with me. And sometimes all I wanted was a big hug and for somebody to tell me that it's okay and things will get better. If you know somebody who is struggling, please continue to invite them to social events and activities, even if they say no. It can mean so much to be asked, and we all like to feel needed at times. The worst part of suffering is not the suffering itself, it's the feeling of being alone in your suffering. We can encourage and support somebody who is struggling with a mental illness of some kind, but we must also accept that recovery is something they will do in their own time. It cannot be rushed or forced. This can sometimes be the hardest part if you know somebody who is going through a difficult time. It can be quite heartbreaking to see somebody you love suffering, but We have to know that they are on their own path, their own journey, and this is all part of the process. If you're somebody on the path to recovery, be kind to yourself and take it easy. There are always going to be good days and bad days, just don't beat yourself up and keep going. Know that however you're feeling and whatever emotions come up, it's all okay. Now, I'm particularly going to talk about anorexia because that was my experience, but if, let's say, you're wanting to start to gain some weight, don't worry if at times your stomach feels like a bottomless pit, or even all the time. It's completely normal. At the end of the day, your body has probably been in a period of starvation and it just wants refeeding. Allow yourself to eat what it is you need and feel satisfied by your food. You're not going to gain a load of weight overnight, I promise. Bloating and water retention is also quite normal during the weight gain process and something I struggled with, which did make it difficult at times for me to eat. And you know what? I still struggle with that sometimes now. I think everybody does. At the end of the day, if we eat a meal, our stomach is going to get bigger, but it will go down. Allow it to process and digest your food. Over time, any weight gain will begin to distribute more evenly over your body. I know it's scary and I know it doesn't feel like it will, but your body knows exactly what to do, so just let go and trust the process. Also, don't stress out too much about what food to eat. We are constantly bombarded with information, mostly from the media, but also from like health professionals such as doctors and the government about what we should be eating, what we shouldn't be eating, when we should be eating, how much we should be eating, and quite frankly, it's completely overwhelming. There are no good or bad foods, nor is there a set amount we should be eating every day. Some people need 2,000 calories to function, some people need 5,000. We're all different, and we all have different bodies and different digestive systems, and we can't really have a one diet to suit all. Also, in the beginning, you'll probably find that you need to eat a lot more than you actually think to gain weight. I certainly found this to be the case, and again, that was quite scary, but just do it in small steps and slowly build it up. Yes, food provides nourishment and gives us the energy to function and live our life, but it's also there to be enjoyed and can really help bring people together. It's all part of the human experience. Don't get me wrong, I love all the health foods and superfoods out there, but I also love cake and chocolate and ice cream, and I'm at a point now where I just allow myself to eat the foods that I enjoy and that make me feel good without any guilt. You can of course do your own research into food and what kind of things may be beneficial for you to eat. Personally, I don't like to get sucked into all of that because I don't want somebody else to dictate how I should be eating or what I should be eating, or even what I should and shouldn't be doing, because I'm learning to do that for myself and doing what's best for me. We are all individuals and have different ways of doing things, and that's okay. Let go of any guilt or unwanted feelings surrounding food. See it as your medicine, you are healing. I'm going to bring this video to an end now. To be honest, I don't really like to give advice to people, particularly on this topic, because there really is no right or wrong way of doing things. I'm simply here to share my experience and hopefully that will help somebody out there. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions for me or things you'd like me to talk about in the future, I am more than happy to help. Please do pop them in the comments below or come and say hello to me over on Instagram and we can have a chat. Have a great week, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.